So, how clean is clean enough for you? Well, only you can tell that, but in this video I'm going to explain a little bit about the engineering idea behind the air filter and airbox here. On many motorcycles you have to remove the airbox with its air filter if you want to access the spark plugs and check your valve clearance, so it gets accessed fairly frequently. This is the airbox from a 2013 Kawasaki ZX6, and I have completely cleaned it. Last time I cleaned it, it was a 12,000 kilometer service. Now it's at 24,000 kilometers, and in the 2 years in between it gets filthy, like everything, small chips, small grits of sand, everything gets sucked into the air box. So the air comes in this direction. This is where the motorcycle is traveling, in that direction towards the kitchen mixer there. So everything that comes in the pathway, the engine just gulps in through this opening here. Okay, so little sand grits, rain is not clean, so all the water that falls down, the wheel wash from vehicles, everything is channeled in here through the frame, and between the two headlights on the motorcycle there's an opening there, so everything comes through here. And especially this part of the airbox here is usually super filthy. I like to make it or clean it very well. Let's see what kind of light do we have here. Not fantastic, but you can see there, that's after cleaning. There's still a little bit of residue of dirt on it as the dirty water dries, but I'm telling you, this has been through rinse and rinse and rinse about 5 to 8 times. So especially this lower part gets very dirty. And of course this is a washable air filter. This was also like saturated with chunks of feathers, needle leaves, what have you, just dirt, and this lives on the airbox here. Its job is to filter out all the air, to filter out all the dirt from the air that's coming its way. Now this can only filter out the air effectively if it seals along its edge there properly. And of course I removed the rubber gasket that was in there in order to clean it properly and rinse it, because the rubber gasket doesn't get manufactured with the injection molded plastic housing. So I usually take it apart, and I took off these rubber chunks as well that are the inlet pipes for the throttle body. There you can see it's waxy. I did not wash the waxy bits, I just cleaned these grooves with compressed air, that's it. The outside of it is not too critical, the inside of it is more so. That's where the air travels before it enters the engine. And then I just have hose clamps and other hoses, components that attach to the airbox. And also, because this air filter, this washable air filter, gets treated or coated with an oily coating, the excess usually pools here in the corner of this airbox here. Thereabout, you can see there are these outlets there with little holes around them. So anyhow, it gets oily here. Okay, the oil doesn't hurt the engine, but in the oil dirt gets trapped in, especially when you take off the lid from this initially, and of course the lid is dirty, so once you open it, you will see when it's mounted on the engine the throttle body butterfly valves underneath. So if those valve flaps get dirty, it's a problem. So I clean everything, absolutely everything, and I take it apart to this degree. Now if you just want to change the air filter and just throw in a new one and don't worry about the dirt so much, it's your life and it's your motorcycle and it's your engine, but the design idea is that that as clean as possible air be sucked into the engine, because the dirty is abrasive. The dirt particles are abrasive. They will scour and damage the aluminum engine components. Okay, even if you have titanium valves and fancy exotic metals, whatever, yeah, dirt is harder. Dirt is gonna win every single time. So the level of cleanliness is up to you. And of course, this airbox goes together with screws. I have the screws over here, and I don't want grit and dirt in the screws where they go in. You can see the two halves go together, because if there are this is plastic. If the metal screw goes into some plastic and there is some dirt in the way, guess what? The plastic is going to lose every single time, because that's the softest. So if the screws don't force the lid and the base together enough, and there is not enough of a seal around or along the edges between the two halves, the engine sucks in unfiltered air. That's a problem. So that's why I take apart everything. I'm gonna take the rubber gasket out of that one too and wash it. So that's how I clean these parts. I have just a few more assembly notes here at the end. Everything is basically together except that it needs the screws in. So when you remove this rubber gasket from the edge here, make sure, one, you don't cut it. Two, if you do cut it, it's not the end of the world, because you can still the cut ends can still lie flat, because it works, the seal works on compression, so the upper and lower halves of the airbox can still compress it, but there is no pulling in this direction on the seal, so it can still by and large work. Yeah, I use this super sophisticated butter knife here. There's still some gem on it there, so this is sharp, sorry, this is dull enough and flat enough and thin enough and whatever, so I use this for taking out the seal. And when you place it in, make sure that the flat side is up. Don't have it on its edge, because the edge is narrower, so it doesn't fill the gap on its edge, and don't have it rotated and twisted in multiple locations. Just make sure it's nice and even, just like this, everywhere, all around. So this is the seal, the gasket in the upper half. There, it needs a little rotation there, or what, it starts to move. I'm gonna have to just adjust it there a little bit, something like that. Maybe there, a little better. Yeah, so anyhow, just careful with this rubber gasket, same on the other side. So that's how it goes together. And these inlet pipes, remove by just pinching it, and it's a rock climber's grip. Okay, it's quite hard to compress these enough to remove them out of the airbox. And on the other side you have index pins and little tails on that's a little rubber tail on the inlet pipe that has to line up between those two index pins. So that's when the longer axis of the oval is in perfect alignment with the direction of the travel, or how it should lie. So there, these rubber tails should be, when you place it in, rotate it a little bit, make sure that this rubber tail is between the index pins. So that's basically it. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the airbox does get a little oil in the corner here from this side, because of the hoses that connect. That's why this is my memory jogger. The engine recycles evaporative emission control measures. You know, some of the crankcase blow-by gases, and so those have some oil in it, and it is meant to be trapped here. There are also other canisters exiting from this hose here that catches the oily sediment from the blow-by gases that get recycled. There's an environmental measure here for the airbox. So that's also why you have oil inside here on the filtered side of the airbox. So that's all. I don't want to hold up here kitchen production. All right, honey, you can have your kitchen back now.